Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Monday, the 9th of October. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the X handle, Twitter handle, call it what you like. And I'm delighted to be joined today. It probably feels very Liam Scales-like for Stewart Ross. It's a first call-up to the Celtic Way briefing. Not before time, to be fair. And you'll probably recognise Stuart's name. Stuart contributes a lot on the site with the scouting reports and lots of statistical data and analysis. So big up and a warm welcome to Stewart Ross. Welcome, Stuart, on what we always call a happy Monday whenever Celtic win. How are you, sir?
Yep, good. Delighted to be making my debut. Hopefully if something along the lines of Scales, I'll not be doing too bad. I'm going to surprise a few people.
Yeah, indeed. Cinderella story and all that. Yeah, indeed. But no, welcome and thank you for stepping in as well. And because young Ryan's off on holiday, I think he told me last night he's booked a late one to Tenerife. So lucky him, he can enjoy that. But we're going to get our teeth into Celtic 3, Kilmarnock 1. Celtic stretched the lead at the top, Stuart, to 7 points over Rangers and St Mirren. And we're in October. Lots of good things to discuss, lots of positives. But you were actually there at the game on Saturday, weren't you? So first and foremost, can I get your overall impression of how you thought it went and how impressed you were by Celtic, if you were impressed, that is?
Yeah, it's the first time I managed up to a league game this season. Not been at the Athletic Bilbao friendly in the summer, but yeah, it was the first time. So yeah, once you managed to wade through the deluge, I was probably I think after the kind of the Lazio game, the deflation of that, you were maybe thinking, especially against a Derek McInnes side, it could be maybe a bit sticky, the conditions and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought first half, like pretty much everyone said, probably the kind of best, in fact, probably full game, the best kind of performance so far of the season. Just things starting to click into place. I think probably a bit better than who would have thought. But yeah, really, just like I say, things starting to click. Little people coming back, Carter Vickers coming back. Yeah, I think to round off what's been, it feels like it's kind of managed through the first couple of blocks of games. I think it's just another really, again, off the back of a disappointing one during the week, kind of positive to end another kind of going into an international break.
Yeah, they went into the international break the last time on the back of a win against Ibrox. Everybody was buoyed by that, and they've done it against Stuart, but produced, I think, their best performance of the season. And we were talking off air just before we came on, and we said if it finishes 5-6 or 7-1, I don't think anybody would have had any complaints about that. That's maybe nitpicking, but they still did the job, and certain players stepped up to the plate. And you can see it as a kind of work in progress, but they're certainly getting better, aren't they? And they're ticking along nicely.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I think Carter Vickers coming back is a big boost. Continuation of Scales, who continues to kind of defy everyone's expectations. Other guys like Taylor having a really good game after a bit of a shaky start to the season. Obviously, we'll probably talk about Haggerty. Palma as well was a big plus in terms of first start and getting another goal. I think just a lot of positives, and hopefully, I know Rodgers obviously don't think he thinks we're quite there, but I think he can see that things are starting to kind of click into place, and I think Haggerty is a good example of that. That it seems to be there's been kind of discussion there, kind of one-to-one stuff, and you can start to see the kind of the impact of that on the pitch.
And the manager had a warm embrace for Haggerty, quite a long.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Lingering one, yeah. I think Luis Palma interrupted him while they were in mid-flow, but clearly delighted with him and the performance that he gave. And his first goal, something special, Stuart, just to take, and the skinning of the Kilmarnock player, and then just waltzing through the middle and striking it. I described it as kind of something like you did at 5-a-sides when you were showing off, wasn't it? That kind of thing. But just a player who's got natural ability, and clearly the manager was saying to him, that's the Haggerty I've kept
That's the standard.
Yeah, and he was clearly agreeing with him. But it was good to see that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think especially against a kind of they had the two kind of deep midfielders, Kilmarnock just kind of pretty much man marking him and O'Reilly. So it's going to take, good bit of movement, good bit of individual skill like it was to kind of get away from that and kind of open everything up. And you've seen once he kind of took his man out with that bit of skill, it all just kind of opened up from him. And then that's him at his best, drive in, striking the ball really cleanly, great finish. And that's, Rogers talked a lot about him off the ball kind of improving, and you can see that as well. But I think on the ball as well, I think he can still, that's clearly one of his strengths, carrying the ball. So I think there's other parts of his game on the ball as well that I think they'll have been working on too. And again, I said before about Rogers that this is his kind of that's what he does best is gets players, gets the arm around them, gets the best out of them, and you're starting to see that it's noticeable that he sort of really, probably I think everyone kind of reads too much into the kind of body language and all that stuff at times, especially with Hatate. But I think he could, he obviously celebrates the goal pretty noticeably. And again, like saying at the end of the game, there's that kind of embrace, there's that kind of, yeah, it's really encouraging that he can maybe not only get, Hatate back to, when he's been at his best, but maybe there's another level or two to go in there as well, which would be pretty good.
Yeah, you're hoping that he has the kind of same effect on Hatate that he seems to have had on Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly's just hit the ground running this season, and it's Rogers' forte to improve players. So if he can improve Hatate, then I mean it augurs well for Celtic. But you can see there's general players being improved right, left, and centre. Scales is another one, isn't he? And they seem to be playing for the manager and listening to the manager, and that's all you can really ask for, Stuart.
Yeah, I think that's probably the kind of theme. I like say the first kind of couple of blocks of games, because you've had all these injuries, you're integrating all these new players. You've got tough trips, Pittodrie, Ibrox, Livingston. I think it's been Rogers' man management and having that togetherness that's kind of managed them through this period. Because I think even the most positive after pre-season, you're looking at those opening fixtures and thinking, obviously there's other circumstances, but I think to have taken 22, 24 in those first two blocks, there's kind of tough games back straight after in terms of going through Easter Road and Tynecastle, I think, to the first couple of games back after the break. But I think that has been a really important thing, has been that togetherness. You can see it on the pitch in terms of coming through that difficult moments. Whether that was going down to 10 men at Livingston, even going down to 9 men in Feyenoord, but not caving in, making sure that get that those are all kind of good positive signs that that's something that is not only helping them through just now, but probably augurs well for down the line too.
Now, the title of the briefing is called "Is Celtic winger Luis Palma the real deal?" Now, it is very early in his Celtic career, but that's 2 goals in consecutive league games. Stuart was denied a goal by VAR against Lazio, denied a winner. But he is looking like an exciting player, and he's getting the kind of comparisons to all sorts of people. Now, I say we were talking off air just before we came on, and I asked you about the Jota void. People saying they remind them of Scott Sinclair, first year Scott Sinclair, that kind of stuff. But I know comparisons, as they say, are odious and all that kind of stuff. But Celtic are looking for somebody to fill that Jota void, certainly, aren't they? Not saying, not comparing Luis Palma to Jota per se, but they're looking for somebody to fill the void. They've been crying out for that since Jota left. And you were there on Saturday, you were saying that you sort of saw some kind of similarities, certainly because you watched them closely, didn't you?
Yeah, we could kind of got a really good view in the first half. And yeah, obviously, like a couple of games, you don't want to, and I don't think he does have, everything that Jota has, but I think he's got a quite a few of the attributes that we had in Jota in terms of, you know, creativity. Maybe just not got that pace. I think if you've been kind of, you know, maybe kind of driving outside a bit, maybe like to see that a wee bit more. But again, that's maybe people saying Scott Sinclair. That was probably something Scott Sinclair was levelled at him a bit. But in terms of, you know, once he's in and around the box, you know, that left hand side again was really noticeable in terms of Taylor, Hatate obviously on that side, McGregor obviously being that left footed. You know, that was really the kind of where all the creativity was coming from, and Palma was involved in that in terms of nice kind of link up play, nice, you know, vision. You know, some of the ones he kind of clipped in behind, or he's got that. You know, we've seen it in his first couple of games as well. He's got, you know, the ability to kind of to switch the play as well to the other side. I don't think there's many wingers at Celtic just now who could do that. And then obviously, you know, in and around the box, he's a really good ball striker. You know, I've seen that with a goal, seen it last week in Motherwell. I think those are his strengths, and I think particularly domestically when, you know, Celtic wingers are in those positions in and around the box, I think he's going to be really effective in terms of goals and assists. Yeah, you were just, I think on Saturday you were kind of worried when the VAR check went up and he'd already done the celebration again. And you're like, oh, I hope we're not twice in the 1 week to you. But I think the one thing, because we mentioned talking about Palma, I went back and had a look because I'd done the scout report on over the summer. And yeah, there was things you were looking at. There's still parts of his game to improve. Obviously, the you know, took all the set pieces. I think that's one thing. On Saturday, had a lot of, you know, set pieces, and it'd be good to see him kind of getting on them as well, mixing that up with O'Reilly off his left. But one of the things I mean, you could kind of tell from watching him, he had that personality. I think that's quite important. Some probably, Rodgers probably would be kind of a manager would quite like kind of player. He's you can see him obviously with his celebrations and stuff like that, but just that he looks like he can handle the kind of, you know, pressure. I'm sure someone told him about the number 7 shirt when he mentioned that he would quite like to take that when he arrived. So that shows that he's got that, you know, that he's got kind of broad shoulders, I suppose, for want of a better expression, to kind of take that on. And if you can, you know, as Roger said as well, post-match, you know, these players are still integrating, they're still settling in. So we hope when they do become more settled, that they can add these wee bits and pieces to their game to make them better. But yeah, I think in the kind of what we're talking of before we come on, I think between him and, you know, Yang and Tilio, there's maybe, you know, well, I say Jota was worth 3 players, but I think they've maybe got the bits and pieces that Jota had, maybe just kind of spread about. It's just who can, you know, I suppose it's good that you've got that mix.
Yeah.
And for now, in terms of, you know, between him and Yang, I think he's probably shown more. And then Trim, and then hopefully we can maybe get to see Tilio after the international break. So yeah, I think in the interim, I think, you know, that he's had such a good start is really positive. And again, another one who you do feel that he will get better as well.
What I liked about his 2 goals his 2 back-to-back goals against Motherwell and Kilmarnock, they did exactly what they said in the tin. Those were the goals that you saw in his highlights reel.
Yeah.
That kind of cross-come shot that nestled its way into the back of the net. He meant that. He's put it into that area, certainly, knowing if there's a touch, it's a goal by a defender or an attacker, but knowing if it carries its way through, then it might cause real problems. And then the whip that he's got on that shot, just instant, the ball coming back to him, and no keeper saving that, because it's outstanding technique from, I mean, fair enough distance, you know, 20 odd yards, and right in the corner. And I was impressed with that, Stuart, more than anything else.
Yeah, I thought, because when you're looking at it, obviously that's probably goalkeeper side, but it's the way he kind of gets that trajectory on it. You know, that like say that whip gets it up and over. It really gives a goalkeeper a little chance, and that is probably his biggest strength. And like I said, I kind of do feel that that's going to be really effective, especially domestically in and around the box when Celtic are dominating games. Maybe one of the criticisms on Saturday is maybe a few too many. I think Hatate had a couple from range as well maybe need to work it a wee bit more at times, but you also need to have that ability that if you are struggling to break teams down, that you have to mix it up. And I think having somebody like him that is such a good striker of the ball is it's definitely his biggest strength.
Now, you mentioned Cameron Carter-Vickers coming back. He's slotted in alongside Liam Scales. The manager bigged up Liam Scales and said he was one of the biggest surprises of his managerial career in terms of, he didn't know too much about him and what he's brought to the table. But I think Scales is a Cinderella story, as I said earlier, and long may it continue, and he deserves what's happened to him. And now there's talk of a new contract because his contract's up for renewal. But I think if he keeps doing what he does, that'll be in the post, won't it, Stuart, for Liam Scales?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the biggest thing that's worked in his favour, obviously, just generally taking that opportunity that's come his way, and it's something that we've mentioned as well. How Rodgers at the left side, the fact he's a left sider.
Yeah.
I think that really works in his favour. And yeah, I think he was probably I don't know 1.5 feet out of the door. Over the summer, he's so close to just if Nawrocki stays fit, if Welsh stays fit, Kobayashi, it's really he's been, obviously that's fortune, but you have to then take that opportunity. I think anyone can say that he's let anyone down in any games or anything like that. I think obviously had the one moment on Saturday with a kind of rash challenge out wide, and I think that's probably the only thing you can say about him is that maybe just a wee bit overeager at times. But if he's like he has shown up to this point now, if you can control that that controlled aggression, then he was up against Vassell, who's a bit of a physical presence himself, and obviously he was going on to Scales rather than Carter-Vickers, obviously. So, but he stood up to it really, really well, really aggressive, really. Other than that moment where he got the book in, I think his defensive work's been absolutely fine. It's just that is maybe the worry that there's one or two of them perhaps in a game, and on the ball as well. I think he's maybe not as the absolute level you're hoping for from a Celtic centre back, but I think more than enough, and especially with that left hand side, like I talked about, it's been kind of for a long time been Celtic's kind of stronger side, and it was that was the case on Saturday in terms of Haggerty being on form on the kind of left side, and in the middle of the park, and Palma as well, and Scales played a role in that as well. I think he's the most passes and pretty productive with it as well. So yeah, I think he would fully deserve a contract if it might well be that it would be a kind of third or fourth choice, and it offers that the left sidedness, it offers that option. But yeah, I think competition for places is going to be once everyone's fit, it'll be pretty intense in there. But he's done no harm at all. I think he's whether it is long term that he's a Celtic first pick. If that's not to be the case, then he can't have done anything more than with the opportunity he's been given with the kind of situation there. So yeah, I think really interesting to see how obviously Carter-Vickers coming back maybe a bit sooner than people expected. But interesting that obviously Phillips is clearly fit enough to play at least an hour by what we've seen the last couple of weeks, and Lagerbielke as well. But he still gets that opportunity to start and plays the full game. So I suppose when Nawrocki's fit again, that's maybe when there's that bit more competition, and it'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out from there.
He's in the mix, certainly, isn't he?
Definitely.
He's posing all those questions and asking all those questions, isn't he? Of the manager wants him to pose and give him the selection dilemma. But at the minute he's there on merit, and obviously just that reassurance of Cameron Carter-Vickers coming back, strolled through it again, didn't he? He was excellent. Don't think the two of them lost a header, and considering that Kilmarnock kind of went for the high ball to Vassell quite a lot, and that kind of physical, robust challenge, but both of them stood up to it really, really well. So, I like you, I agree. I think there's still a lot of development for Scales in his game, because he does, as much as he's at the top of his game at the minute, you're just not 100% with him because you still think that there's a possible rickets or a mistake there, isn't there, in terms of his distribution or, as you say, making a rash challenge or tackle. But certainly getting the nod from the manager's as good as, putting your faith in you. That's him saying, look, you're my man at the minute. Go and grab that opportunity. And he seems to be doing that, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And Carter Vickers back's a boost as well. I think he just, like you say, slotted in. Like, I suppose the worry is that he was back too soon at the start of the season, so you're a bit worried again. Worried when he was coming on Wednesday night, like, why is he up Lagerbielke because suspended? And it definitely seems like Phillips has got something that's maybe ongoing, that he can't play a full 90 minutes, or for some reason there, that's been something there that's been managed. But I think to get through the hour off the back of getting a bit of game time during the week, and now hopefully gets a couple of weeks again to just kind of keep ticking over, and hopefully that's him now totally over any kind of ongoing issue or anything for starting back, because he's going to be really important for those games straight back, in terms of twice through to Edinburgh and Atletico Madrid double header. So he's going to be, I think, having him back for them is also really big.
I think when you see Cameron Carter-Vickers name the team sheet, you just go, and breathe. It doesn't matter who you play alongside them, does it? You just trust the big man to marshal the troops and be that kind of colossus at the back. And there was one particular instant where he cut out the real danger. The boy swept it across and he slid in, but it was just due to total anticipation, reading of the game, and he slid in and he cleared the danger. And it was just great to see him do that, go in where it hurts again. That was a Cameron Carter-Vickers that was at Hampden that day when he repelled everything Rangers threw at him. You just kind of knew, yep, that's Cameron Carter-Vickers back doing what he does best. And it was a solid hour, wasn't it? And as you say, he can continue his rehabilitation, whatever it is. He's now fit enough to come back into the side, and he'll be needed, especially for that doubleheader at Edinburgh and doubleheader against Atletico Madrid. And that's what you've wanted, that's what you've craved, to see him back in the side.
Yeah.
And Brendan Rodgers can perm anyone from however beside them. But at the minute, it's Scales, and I thought the two of them did very well Saturday.
Yeah, I think ideally that you'd want some kind of consistency there now certainly after the first couple of months of the season. So you'd think it would be Carter-Vickers and another, kind of going forward, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
So again, like we're talking about there, where Scales has done enough just now to keep that place until and you've got Phillips and Lagerbielke there as kind of backup until Nawrocki comes back, and then it's him that kind of pushes further. Is the one that pushes Scales for that slot. That was the kind of pairing at the start of the season before both of them picked up those injuries. So I think having that consistency, because you've got Taylor, you've got Johnson, you've got Hart, and you've got Carter-Vickers now, then you can kind of start to see, hopefully that's a settled, defensive unit, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, got lots of comments coming in, so we'll take some comments, Stuart. Patrick McLaughlin, morning, Paddy, you're doing Hatate's best game for 6 months on Saturday there. Yep, he certainly was excellent. And he comes back in 7 points clear and still in second gear. Yeah, there's an element of that, isn't it? John Boy, 1888, 7 points clear at this stage and having coming through some tricky away games with a depleted squad. I think Celtic will kick on now. We were talking about that at the start of the programme, weren't we? Andrew Gilliat, Hatate's back in form was just a matter of time. Francis Green, passing movement, players looking hungry. Rio Hatate, Pete McGee coming in. Can all the Hatate critics stand up in a bit? They were totally wrong. Hatate's probably the most gifted player in our squad, so we might consider selling him. Celtic need him at the club for years. Yeah, totally agree with that. Helen Feeks, morning all. Team clicking into gear now, and well done. The women 6-0, brilliant. That was another excellent result for them. Yeah, it was indeed. And Jason Lee saying this is the first game where he saw a team with identity and style. We'll pick up on that, Stuart. Did you see that too? I actually saw it at Ibrox, to be fair, when he went to Ibrox and got the better of Michael Beale, and I'd said all week that he would set out a team with a kind of identity and a style and a pattern of play that would get the better of Rangers, and I saw it. I saw it in the making against Rangers at Ibrox, maybe coming more to fruition now in more in an attacking sense as well. But yeah, I think you saw the nucleus of it at Ibrox when they went there and were supposed to go there and get caned and turn over. And, had they won 2 or 3-0 at Ibrox, I don't think anybody would have quibbled about that either.
No, I think it's he's kind of done what he said he was going to do. Rodgers, he's not made huge amount of changes. In fact, if anything, he's maybe kind of come back a wee bit from the likes of Taylor. Maybe seeing him come and playing that kind of inverted role a bit more. Maybe not as aggressively as under Postecoglou, but doing that a wee bit more. You're seeing certainly on Saturday that midfield three was very much a McGregor as the kind of deepest, and then the two, Haggerty and O'Reilly as kind of tens. Whereas, certainly for Ibrox, that was the circumstances of that fixture. O'Reilly kind of playing both in terms of going back and helping out, but at home to Kilmarnock, you probably don't need that, so you have those two kind of tens. I think the kind of overall differences is just that wee bit maybe kind of more controlled, and the kind of build up, not quite kind of picking moments. But the benefit of that is obviously you've got more control in the game. Again, that's something that you've seen during the week against Lazio. For all was a bit of a gutter at the end, and he would have been disappointed with a draw. I think the positives were the performance in terms of, other than those two chances they had, really restricted them, really controlled big parts of the game. And a Champions League tie, and that's not always, wasn't maybe some for as well as Celtic played at times last season in the Champions League under Postecoglou, didn't really always have that control. We're always kind of leaving kind of big gaps at the back. So that's a positive, and that's probably more the kind of style we're going to see in Europe, but you can see bits of that as well, and just in general. And at the weekend, like saying the clear identity and style, that's part of that. I think that's been the right way of doing it, because off the back of a treble, we kept most of that squad. I don't think you needed to make big changes. The smart thing to do was like you said, and like what seems to be happening is just making wee tweaks and here and there. If that's been Haggerty, maybe Kyogo maybe playing a bit deeper at times, or just like I say, that maybe mixing up in terms of kind of long balls maybe a bit more often, or like I say, just maybe taking that extra pass or two along the back just to kind of to get things set, and then start moving into the kind of patterns of playing that as well. And obviously I mentioned that left hand side. You can really start to see that Palma, Haggerty, Taylor, that kind of triangle, and nice kind of link up play there, rotations, and that kind of those kind of things really clear now, a lot more clearer than they were probably the first couple of games.
Yeah, definitely, totally. Yeah, I said before, and I've been saying it on the pod constantly, that Celtic are only going to get better. It's just a question of when it would click into gear. To say, saw the early evidence of that at Ibrox, saw it completely on Saturday. I thought, right, that's the one where they can now kick on. Lots of comments coming in, so I'll just take some more. Francis Green, fans say it how they see it. Players go off form or they're unsettled. New management too, but we all know there's great talent in Rio. Exactly. Hopefully that's a tie up to full fitness. Correct. Francis Green come back in. Liam Scales, some boy, most improved, steady as a rock. Yep, he's been excellent so far. Pete McGee, has Palma been watching videos of Scott Sinclair at his best? Yep, spoke about that earlier. And Michael Ross, Palma does look like an exciting player. Neil Reid, Palma clearly has an eye for goal. And then somebody coming and saying what you were saying, Stuart, Palma's no pace, but he's got quality. So hopefully we can get the nucleus of 3 players there. As you see, Jota was 3 players, but hopefully between Palma, Tillio and Yang, we can have the ingredients for everyone. Palma's growing on me. Of course, he's growing on you. Patrick McLaughlin's got a right good swing on that ball. He certainly does. If you'd read Stewart's scouting report, you would know that. And then if you watch the highlights reel, you would see that for yourself. Jason Lee Palma just has that look about him. He's got something special. He has indeed. And Patrick McLaughlin, so you're going to see a few colours into far corners from outside the box, and Palma's about. I think that too. Hazel Finney's got the most amazing whip strike, very clean. Yep, love the look of him. Yeah, lots of love for Palma. I think Palma, I'm telling you, a great player for us. He's different from Jota, but he can spot a pass and he can strike a ball really well. And Francis Green, more shots from outside the box, and hopefully Celtic can get more dead balls with Lewis around. Yeah, I was talking about that Saturday after the game, that still to see him on the free kicks, but that'll be interesting when they come along. TJ Lindy, he's not skilled, he's not got the pace of Jota, but I think he got far more goals than Jota got for Celtic. That's an interesting one, because I think you're erring on that side as well, aren't you? So Palmer's goal's a cracker. Tim Anon saying he still prefers Kyogo as the focal point. I do too, but that's just me. Patrick McLaughlin saying he gets 7 games in 21 days in between this break and November's international break. 5 in the league, 3 away and 2 at home. And Steve McGrory with an interesting comment, which we'll pick up on. One of the many positive Saturdays was the identity of the different goal scorers. Both Matt O'Reilly and Kyogo played well, but Celtic shouldn't have to rely on them to score every week, and that's a fair point, well made, I think. Stuart, from Steve, he's a regular contributor, which was good
definitely,
see, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that's been Kyogo and O'Reilly have been by far the in terms of goals, assists, chances. Those two have been far and away kind of leading the kind of the way with that. So yeah, to get like he says, getting goals from other areas, getting creativity from other areas as well. That's really encouraging too. Because I think Kyogo probably was a bit quiet on Saturday. He's probably got about 5 centre backs marks at any one point. But he still try to come. I think he come off a couple of times and tried to that one round the corner. Didn't quite come off. But and O'Reilly again, I think. Like I said, the two deepest Kelly central midfielders just pretty much sat on O'Reilly and Hatate all kind of day. They were just following them around the pitch. So I think O'Reilly probably was a bit quieter. But again, it's all right keeping one of those kind of players quiet. But if you then have Hatate suddenly, turning it on, then you've got 2 of them to keep quiet, and that's it's probably a bit more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Brown Warrior comes in and picks up with Steve's point, more advantageous to have goals come from all over the pitch in the team than being over reliant on one striker. Yeah, I mean, Kyogo ran kind of straight down the tunnel at the end, didn't he? I think he was really annoyed with Maeda for not playing him in. They both kind of had a chance where they should have played each other in. And I just think it was a kind of like a tip.
I think he took a heavy one, I think, as well. Towards the end of the game as well. So I don't know if he just, And
I think it's just his high standard that he sets it. If he doesn't score, he kind of gets a bit annoyed, especially when he's maybe had a chance to score.
It's probably obviously, he got the kind of the first Champions League goal during the week, and then the games kind of got away, and then he's probably coming out Saturday thinking get a couple of goals here to kind of put that right, and didn't really get much of a kind of looking in terms of chances. So, but like I say, the most important thing is that, like you're saying in the comments there, getting goals from other areas, so it's not then impacting the team getting a result.
And that's part of that identity and style now coming through, Stuart, where everybody's chipping in, everybody's making an impact. Substitutes coming on and making an impact as well. The last manager was very big on that, regardless of how many minutes they got, but they were coming on to impact the game. So you can see that kind of coming to fruition as well with Rodgers' team, that the team that starts is maybe not necessarily the team that finishes, but when you're on there, you're on to do a job. And I think a lot of them, that message has been drilled home, and they are starting to play with that kind of freedom, that identity, that style that he wants. It was maybe a slow burner, and there are times when it looks as if it's a slow build-up, but they're just waiting for their moment, really, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think hopefully after the international break, like you mentioned, Tilio there as well. Like hopefully there's in a bad. I know it's a bit longer term, but hopefully at different points later in the season, you're going to have more more to pick from the bench, more more quality coming on for half an hour. That's the kind of encouraging thing as well. In that point that probably not still probably not getting too far off what kind of first 11 would maybe be, but I think the squad's still maybe because you've still got like Nawrocki at the back. Tilio, you hope he's going to be a contributor in a meaningful way. That he's still to come back in. I think even you've got that 7-game block next till the next international break. I think by that point you'll then be starting to look into January and thinking because back to the end of the transfer window that there was still one or two more that he was looking for, that that plans are in place to do that as well, that you can then have even more kind of options for that second half of the season.
Yeah. And speaking of Maeda, he's had to withdraw from the Japanese squad just before we came on there. He's withdrawn through injury. Don't know the nature or extent of the injury, but he's been withdrawn. So that's the news on Maeda. Hopefully nothing too serious regarding Maeda's injury. Jason Lee, Palmer's great vision and IQ. T1 saying Palmer the next star player. And Brian McGinty comes in and says he noticed Kyogo looking a bit frustrated on Saturday, but he isn't going to score as many goals this season, but the team will pitch in with more goals. That's Brendan's style, which is what we've been talking about, which Steve McGrory was talking about with his initial comment that if you're not over-reliant on one or two players, then others can chip in, and that's certainly what happened on Saturday. Stuart, yeah?
Yeah, and Kyogo's been asked to play a slightly different role as well, so he isn't going to he's not getting to as probably the kind of those ones that those kind of goals that you're seeing that that Tottenham team score in the Premier League now, when they're getting to the byline and kind of that kind of classic archetypal Postecoglou goal. This is a different way of playing now, different. And he's been asked to do a bit more in terms of helping with coming and building and linking things and being more creative as well. So yeah, you probably not, he maybe won't score as many goals because you won't get to as many high quality chances, but if he's then also giving you more in terms of creativity, then you've still got that output. It's just you're getting to a slightly different method. So, and I think he certainly has shown that he's got those different parts of his games. That he's got quality there that we maybe didn't see before in terms of that. Being more a kind of link up, a focal point, not just somebody in the 6-yard box to put it away. But hopefully we still see that because that's what he does best.
Yeah. Andrew Galea, be lucky to get as many goals as last season, but you'd rather see Kyogo scoring 30-odd goals. So would I. That's I'm very much in tune with that, Andrew. Jason Lee saying, I understand that when strikers get upset about not scoring, it's a good sign. I think that's a good sign as well. It's just makes them even more determined to come out the next game and bulge the net. But yeah, I'm very much Kyogo playing on the shoulder of the last defender and making those runs that Matt O'Reilly found them with against Lazio. Again, I'm not going to dispute the manager's decision to play him in a deeper role and get him more involved. Understand why he's doing it. That's fine. But to me, Kyogo's a predator. He's a striker, and I prefer him there. But that's just me personally. I'm naturally drawn to strikers, but I just think that he's quick and he's clever and he comes alive in and around there, and I just think he's not as effective, although he has set up a couple of goals this season, set up one for Matt O'Reilly with a lovely wee flick, and I get all that, but I'm more comfortable with him being an out-and-out striker. That's just a personal preference.
Yeah, I think Rodgers still knows that as well. I think he said it after the game at Ibrox. I think his threats on the kind of last line, on the shoulder. He still knows that as maybe you just try to blend it. You try to get maybe a bit of both.
Yes.
the best of both. So hopefully it's something that has been noticeable. Looking at kind of the numbers and stuff, and it'll be interesting to track that as the season keeps going on. How that impacts his own threat in front of goal. If he's been asked to do more of that, but I think that's the good thing that I think that more kind of pragmatism from Rodgers, that he knows he does maybe want to see a bit more of this, but he still understands that is his strength, and we still need to factor that in. We're not totally telling him to stay out the box. We're just trying to mix things up again to give
It's fine.
give oppositions,
isn't it?
giving the opposition different things to think about as well.
Yeah, lots of a few comments coming in about that, so we shall read some of them out. Paul McLean agreeing with me regarding Kyogo. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate that. Liam Devine saying by dropping in, he gives Celtic more variation. Yep. Alistair Ross saying another striker in January will still be a priority. I think that too. Got to be honest. Again, that's just my preference. And Hazel Finch saying she would prefer Kyogo getting more chances. Hope he doesn't get too frustrated because he doesn't look happy at the minute. At the moment, I just think if strikers aren't happy if they're not scoring, and I think Kyogo's one of those guys who just loves to score. So yeah. And Andrew Gillies says it's okay for a striker to drop in if he's a strike partner, not when he's flying solo. That's my point as well. I think it negates Kyogo sometimes because he doesn't have a partner. But that's
I think just maybe trying to get the kind of the wide players kind of offering that threat in behind. But you probably need Abada and Maeda to be that effective. I don't think if it's Palma and Yang, I don't know, Tillo maybe, but I don't think Palma and Yang would probably offer that same kind of have that pace to be a threat in behind. But you've got everyone talked about how great Matt O'Reilly is. That's a big part of how that's happened, is because he's getting into the box more. He's he's got on the end of things that Kyogo's been a part of creating. So yeah, it's all kind of positive, but just in it's just like say this. It's a different way of playing. We're so used to Postecoglou's team for 2 years, and you knew how we were going to play every single week. Where everyone was going to be. It was very fluid, but script kind of everything was almost kind of scripted. Whereas I think the team, the style under Rodgers is a wee bit more kind of fluid, a wee bit more kind of we mix things up a wee bit more. So, and like I said, that you've mentioned earlier, the benefits of that, having a wee bit more control maybe in Europe is hopefully it's not quite come off just yet. But hopefully, in the last 4 games in the group, we'll see a kind of reward for that, hopefully.
It's all part of the Rodgers master plan, Stuart.
Mm-hmm.
The man has a plan.
Totally.
Most certainly does. As he said himself, he's here for 3 years, and unless he's emptied, I don't think he'll be getting emptied at this moment in time. Lots of progression and development in that Celtic team, and I think everybody's got reasons to be cheerful at the minute as they can see it slowly but surely coming to the surface. Brown Warrior, Kyogo doing that creates the opportunity for a strike pairing going forward, so perhaps not a bad thing. It's just I would want Kyogo to be part of a strike pairing.
Yeah, I think Alan had the piece last week about playing maybe him and Maeda as a kind of two.
Yeah,
and how that would the benefits of that in terms I don't think you would get a second as a defender on the ball, and you seen that was obviously a big part of how they managed through the game at Livingston, playing those two as kind of almost kind of like split strikers, playing in taking up positions as strikers, but then still pressing in the wide areas and stuff as well. So that I think that the only issue is that we've got a fair amount of wingers in that squad. So I think the problem there would be if you're then playing a kind of a narrow kind of midfield, then where do those kind of players fit in? So, but I think as time goes on, and that's what certainly happened in Rodgers' first spell. We've seen he kind of evolved into playing a back three at times. So I think that will come down the line at some point, perhaps. Yeah. So I think in just general, even if we've only got even if it's only one striker spot at the moment, I think, you know, you'd want a third one there,
Yeah.
just even in terms of to keep, you know, to keep on his, you know, to get the best out of him, because at the moment he is undisputedly going to be the next striker on, or if Kyogo's injured, he will play. He's not got, you know, Rodgers has played Maeda there a bit at the start. He could still be an option there, but I think you just want a wee bit more competition. And as just a striker, not somebody who, like Maeda, can play. I know he was not really a striker to start his career, and he still kind of plays like that. But I think you've seen how he's played wide a lot. I think, and it's not a direct competition. You know what I mean? I think you need somebody else in there pushing. Not just for that starting spot, but you know, pushing other guys on as well.
I was just wondering what the collective term was for lots of wingers, a plethora of wingers. I was just going to call it a jinky of wingers. It's got to be a jinky of wingers, isn't it? If you're a Celtic supporter,
signing a winger.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? You call the collective noun a jinky of wingers. It's got to be. In Celtic, I've got a lot of them. Well, Stuart, that's 45 minutes, or just over 45 minutes. I bet you can't believe it. Time flies when you're allegedly having fun, as they say. But I want to thank you for coming on and being a guest today on another Happy Monday and kind of dissecting Celtic 3 Kilmarnock 1 from various standpoints, tactical analysis, and talking about players and stuff. Pete McGee, a flight of wingers, Tony. Yeah, I like that too. Or a flank of wingers, says Steve McGrory. Still like a jinky of wingers because he was just the best. So there you go. But there you go. Anyway, but no, thank you, Stuart. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed that, and you'll read Stuart doing the scouting pieces and statistical pieces on the Celtic way, and he does them very well. I'm sure you'll be impressed as much as we have been with the articles that Stuart provides. And as you see the strapline running along the bottom, we always ask you to subscribe to the Celtic way and help support top quality football journalism covering the club you love. Subscribe to the YouTube website. We do these videos for free, but also subscribe to the website because that helps us keep doing these YouTube videos, and you get notifications when they come on, and then you can read all the stuff that's on the web, opinion pieces from myself, Stuart, statistical stuff from Alan Morrison, Ducal James, and pieces from Young Ryan as well. It's all there. We try and cover every base. Big interviews from myself, some videos as well with top 5 Celtic moments featuring various personalities. But Stuart, thank you so much. Excellent debut. I think in a Liam Scale style, you'll be back, sir. Easily to say that. Can say that with pure confidence. But there you go. And guys, I hope you've enjoyed the programme today. Thank you for all the comments. We can't do it without you. We try and read as many out as we can and bounce off each other. And we've created a wonderful community here from scratch, and we enjoy it. And it's even better when your team wins. But it's just a long couple of weeks now, isn't it, Stuart?
Yeah, so, it's quite how long it is.
To your next club fix. But we muddle through. We get there in the end. There's never not something to talk about when you're talking about Celtic. There you go, Pete McGee. Well done, Stuart. Come back anytime. Hail, hail. That's exactly. Enjoy your day and stay dry. Well done, Stuart, says Francis Green. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Enjoy your day, says Michael Ross. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow. Hopefully, that's a happy Monday. So it'll be a terrific Tuesday, won't it? It's just a wonderful Wednesday, per many kind of 1 from 3 and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Stuart, magic. Well done, Stuart, lads.
Thanks very much. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, everybody is bigging up Stuart's flawless debut. I think you'd say flawless. But there you go.
I'll take that.
All day long. But yeah, thank you, sir. T1 saying, like the video, guys. Thanks very much. We shall be back tomorrow. But as I say, subscribe to the Celtic Way website. It'll cost you £4 for 4 months or $2.99 a month, whatever way you want to do. That's the current deals that we have. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Thank you, Stuart. Jason Mudgar, great programme. Thanks, guys. Tremendous. Thank you very much. And Brown Warrior, thumbs up to Stuart. There you go. I'm glad I was here just to they make up the numbers, Stuart, you know what I mean? But there you
No,
go.
yeah, managed me through it as well. You'd experienced head next to me.
Pleasure, sir. And as I say, a wonderful debut. Well done. We will get you back on the programme. Don't you worry about that. So, guys, we shall see you tomorrow. You know the drill, 10 o'clock-ish, 10:05, something like that. Stuart, thank you so much. Really appreciate you
Thanks.
coming on. All right, take care. All the best.